Welcome everybody. On today's session, we're going to discuss what do you really know about mental illness? Let's start. The mental illness is defined as a syndrome characterized by clinically meaningful disturbance in an individual's cognition, emotion regulation, or behavior that reflects a dysfunction in processes underlying mental functioning. Did you know that more than 110,000 people suffers from mental disability in Catalonia? Concretely, in Barcelona, there are more than 83,000 people recognized with a mental illness. 80% of the Catalans with mental disorders has suffered discrimination in some area of his life. There are numerous mental conditions recognized as mental illnesses. Amid the most common types are anxiety, mood, psychotic, eating, personality disorders, among other two. La Generalitat de Catalunya exposes that depression and anxiety disorders are the most frequent among the Catalan population. But what really causes mental illness? Well, physical causes refers to each individual's own genetic. Psychological factors refers to past or current traumatic experiences, such as abuse, grief, or divorce. But there's also family history, which refers to heredity. By last, we have environmental causes, which refers to living conditions along with family and community. For example, living in poverty, unemployed, or highly stressed in your work can all put pressure on individuals' mental health. And now, let's start talking about mental illness in Catalonia. I bet you're asking, what do you need to recognize this illness? To prove that you have a mental illness, you will simply need a certification from your doctor. For example, in 2015 in Catalonia, more than 102,000 people got the certification. 2 years later, this number increased to more than 110,000 people suffering from mental illness. Since year 2000, the certification of mental illness has been an increasing trend in Catalonia. In Catalonia, there are some compensations when employing people with mental illness. Participants are people with the recognition or certification of mental illness disability. Workers have to be employed through special working centers to ensure the best fit between him and the job. Subsidies are limited. That is why companies will be previously valued in order to receive the subsidy. The quantity of the payment will be 50% of the minimum wage, including the maintenance of the employee at work. Social stigmas regarding mental illness can affect a person's life in every aspect. For example, education, labor, family setting, and even in relationships. Sadly, due to social taboos, 77% of the Catalan population have been attributed negative characteristics. For example, that they are aggressive, lazy, unstable, fragile, or even dependent. But here's the real question. What can we do to contribute to stop this social stigma? Well, the elimination of the social stigma is not a matter of a few days. However, society can work towards a better understanding. But first, start with yourself. For example, do you put labels and stereotypes on people who suffer from it? Step number 2, not defining people by their disease. For example, a person with schizophrenia cannot be defined only as a schizophrenic. And finally, inform others. For all of this, it is essential to plan and maintain informative campaigns in schools, work centers, and the social health network in order to eliminate myths and to promote the acceptance and integration of people with mental illness. Nowadays, there are different social businesses who contribute with the cause because they actually treat them for what they really are, human beings with personality, capabilities, self-esteem, and self-actualization needs. For example, Moltacte, a Catalan outlet store, has been doing this, working with brands such as Maximo Duty and Oysho. More than 50% of this cooperative's labor force has a mental illness, but it is important to say that it hasn't stopped them from giving a high-quality service to their customers. Moltacte has changed the mindset of everyone who visits their outlets, overcoming the social stigma and nurturing mutual trust.